Saturday night, high-stakes diplomacy. The Prime Minister touches down in Europe to talk trade and securing a ceasefire for Ukraine, as thousands of Ukrainians gather in Kyiv and Canada calling for an end to Russia's war.
The Prime Minister's grand European tour continues, boosting trade ties by signing deals on critical minerals and energy with Germany.
Canada has just rewritten the rules of global diplomacy. Mark Carney, Canada's Prime Minister, went on a Europe tour that not only stunned allies, but also silenced Donald Trump, at least for now. This isn't exaggeration, this is fact. For years, critics claimed Canada was too dependent on the United States, always walking in Washington's shadow, but this trip proved something very different. Canada can stand on its own, build new partnerships, and take the lead on international issues. It was more than symbolic. It was historic. From the moment Carney boarded his plane, he carried a message. Canada is not bound by America's unpredictability. In recent months, Trump launched tariffs on steel, aluminum, dairy, and technology. He went as far as joking that Canada might become the 51st state, words that caused outrage across Ottawa and beyond. Carney's answer wasn't a press release or a protest at the White House. His answer was to go to Europe and say, loud and clear, Canada has choices. Canada has allies, and Canada will act like a sovereign power. The timing was deliberate. On March 17th, Carney skipped Washington entirely and instead landed in Paris to meet French President Emmanuel Macron. Within hours, he was standing next to Macron, reinforcing Canada's commitment to Europe's defense and economy. From there, he flew to London to meet Prime Minister Keir Starmer and King Charles III. That decision, choosing Paris and London before Washington, was a diplomatic thunderclap. It told the world Canada will not be sidelined, even if Trump tries to dominate headlines. Fast forward to August. Carney launched a whirlwind 4-day tour that covered Kyiv, Warsaw, Berlin, and Riga. This wasn't a ceremonial trip. It was carefully designed, high stakes, and laser-focused. Each stop carried weight, each handshake carried purpose. The most dramatic moment came in Kyiv. On Ukraine's Independence Day, Carney arrived unannounced. No red carpets, no months of press buildup, just quiet, decisive action. He stood beside President Volodymyr Zelensky and pledged $2 billion in new military aid.
We're investing today $2 billion in new military assistance for Ukraine.
He signed a groundbreaking deal for co-producing drones, committed more than $1 billion in defense equipment, and importantly, didn't rule out deploying Canadian peacekeepers in the future. That last point alone sent shockwaves through NATO circles. Canada isn't just writing checks, it's preparing to put boots on the ground if needed. Next came Warsaw. Poland is Europe's frontline state in the standoff with Russia, and Carney treated it as such. Canada and Poland signed multiple agreements on defense cooperation, clean energy, aviation, and cybersecurity. They pledged annual bilateral talks, ensuring the relationship grows deeper year after year. Even more striking, Canada announced it would lead at Poland's major defense exposition and join Europe's Rearm Europe program, aimed at boosting military capacity across the continent. For a country often criticized for underspending on defense, this was a clear break from the past. Carney also confirmed Canada's long-term goal of quadrupling defense spending by 2030, a massive shift in policy.
We'll quadruple our spending on defense between now and the end of the decade. And to do that right, to do that properly, we need the best partners.
In Berlin, Carney met Chancellor Friedrich Merz. The discussions centered on energy, critical minerals, and supply chain resilience. Germany has been desperate to cut its reliance on Russian energy and reduce dependence on China's rare earths. Carney arrived with answers. Canada, rich in critical minerals like cobalt, lithium, and nickel, is now positioning itself as Europe's reliable supplier. That means cleaner cars, stronger batteries, and less geopolitical blackmail. Germany knows it, Canada knows it, and Trump, he can't ignore it. While Washington talks tariffs, Canada is striking deals that shape the future. The final stop was Riga, Latvia. There, Carney met Canadian troops deployed as part of NATO's enhanced forward presence. He announced Canada would extend its mission until 2029, guaranteeing a strong presence on NATO's eastern flank.
Canada will extend Operation Reassurance, our leadership of that, our commitment here on the ground will extend for 3 more years.
Standing in front of Canadian soldiers, Carney reminded allies that Canada is not just a quiet partner, it is a leader willing to take risks for collective security. Now, why did all of this happen? Because Trump's policies left Canada little choice. His tariff wars destabilized trade. His casual remarks about Canada's sovereignty fueled political outrage. His go-it-alone style made allies nervous. Carney, once the steady governor of both the Bank of Canada and the Bank of England, knows how fragile global systems are. He understands that in the absence of trust, countries must hedge their bets. That is exactly what he did, pivoting to Europe to secure markets, strengthen defense ties, and underline Canada's sovereignty. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Carney has earned the nickname the adult in the room, especially compared to Trump's unpredictability. In London earlier this year, he quipped that Canadians weren't impressed by Britain's decision to host Trump on a state visit. Subtle? Yes. But the message was unmistakable. Canada won't be a prop in Trump's theater. In Washington, after a tense Oval Office meeting, Carney calmly stated, "Canada is not for sale." Trump scoffed, but Carney's steady tone resonated. It reminded the world that leadership doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers and gets louder results. The facts speak for themselves. Canada is building drone factories with Ukraine. It is preparing to multiply defense spending. It is securing critical minerals deals with Germany. It is embedding itself in Poland's military planning. And it is extending NATO deployments deep into the next decade. None of this happened by accident. It is strategy born from necessity, fueled by Trump's hostility, and carried out with European enthusiasm. Even beyond the headlines, Carney's trip revealed small but telling details. In Berlin, he insisted Canadian businesses be present in Germany's green energy transformation. In Riga, he personally met Canadian troops in freezing rain, underscoring his message of solidarity. So what's next? Expect more trade agreements, especially in clean energy and defense manufacturing. Expect Canada to accelerate its critical minerals strategy, shipping resources to Europe instead of the US. Expect NATO cooperation to deepen, with Canada increasingly taking leadership roles. And expect Trump to grow more frustrated. His tariffs were designed to isolate Canada. Instead, they pushed Canada toward Europe, creating an alliance that may outlast his presidency. Here's the bottom line. Mark Carney's historic Europe tour wasn't just diplomacy, it was a statement of independence. It showed that Canada can lead, Europe will welcome it, and Trump's bluster can be met with quiet but effective resolve. Canada has turned the page, and for once, Washington isn't the center of the story. If you want more straight-to-the-point breakdowns of global politics without the noise, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and let us know, do you believe Carney's European pivot is Canada's best move? Or should Canada still prioritize its US relationship no matter who sits in the White House? That's the tour. That's the silence. And sometimes silence is the loudest answer of all.